Hello. Today I want to walk through a big kind of thing that's happened to me today that I wasn't expecting, that I was not ready for, that relates to what we can see on the screen here. Not running code given to you, thinking a little bit, and how AI can help with that. So, I was approached by this guy today. Whoa, that's not the right tool. I was approached by this guy today. One of these little buggers. And I didn't know this guy was a hacker man, but I came to find that out quite quickly. I work on a platform called Upwork as a freelancer. I'm quite new to the platform, so I don't have too much experience with dealing with the freelancer customer. But I got this little invitation to an interview, the invitation to submit a proposal. And it's from this guy called Gabriel Isaac, which, reflecting on this name, I realized, well, it's probably not a real person. And he was inviting me, being a very skilled developer that I am, to join his project working with blockchain technologies. Unfortunately, the messages between Gabriel and myself have been deleted. So I cannot show you those, and Upwork does not have any sort of historical messages, and I've been blocked. So I've got to rely on these emails, unfortunately. But this continues to go on into the details of what he wants, and etc., etc. And I thought, okay, I can do that. I'll submit a proposal. A few hours later, I think about 8 or 9, I received this. Hi Marcus, thanks for your interest. Yada yada yada. There was a project, it paused for 6 months, etc., etc., etc. We get into the financials. I'm looking at these numbers and going, ooga ooga, this is a great number that I want to get paid. Now, over here we can do some quick maths, which I should have done initially. Less than 30 hours a week is what he proposed, and it's not here, but he proposed $50 dues an hour, which, if we do the math, that does not line up. $50 for 30 hours a week is not 300k and 350k a year, or not even close to 400, especially if we're talking USD. So that doesn't quite make sense. Should have picked up on that. He continues to say, hey, we have a repository, this one right here, and on the next meeting I'd like to see it working, if the project is working as well, so just get it up and running and send him a screenshot of it working. So I was like, alright, well this seems pretty simple. Let me jump over to the repository, which, unlike our messages, is still up, which is fantastic because I need to out this dirty laundry. At first glance, you might think, well, this looks like a pretty standard repository. We scroll down, it's got a nice readme and basic install instructions, but you might be noticing something right off the bat. What's this doing here? That's not a good sign. Remove OpenAPI key? OpenAI key? What's going on? This is strange. Now, I actually didn't notice this until I cloned it. What I did notice straight away is, oh, look at that, they got 2 contributors. Well, 4 contributors, but 2 contributors right here. These people seem legit. Clearly, this is a legit project. That was my instant assumption. And that is kind of where this lies. I was not taken aback by this at all. Now, I was listening to a song that I normally listen to when I'm like deep in thought. So it caught me at a great time. Because if we jump over to the code, yes, I use Vim by the way, we can have a look here and see something that is not a good sign at all. And it's just these lines here. Now, I didn't actually see this the first time I ran through the code, because if you can't tell, the code is quite dense. There's this poker game thing, and I mean, I've worked on large projects, so I was quite taken aback at the simplicity and basicness of this program, because it's all written in JavaScript and HTML, and this is a Web3 platform, of, where they're wanting experienced developers. Like, this is clearly not a platform. This is an application. This is nowhere near a platform. They don't have users. This isn't real. So I was like, well, what's going on? I've worked on large-scale projects. This is not a large-scale project. Now, I came across this not on my own volition, but because I was lazy and because Claude's continuing to steal my money and I forgot to cancel my subscription because Claude Code's great. I was like, hey, Claude, I'm thinking real deep right now. I'm thinking because this music's got me vibing hard. I should probably not npm install and npm start straight away. I should check if there's a backdoor. And surely enough, Claude in about 2 seconds went, oh, security issue. And I was like, really? No, you're clearly hallucinating. But it told me, no, this is a problem right here. So it's removing it. And I'm like, well, what's the issue? Let's take a look. If we take a basic look here, we have this hash, and it uses base64 to get this hash out, and it's this URL. Well, that's strange. URL. This is clearly making a backdoor request. So Claude continued to explore, and I prompted a little bit more, and it found a direct eval function call, which, if you don't know what direct eval function call is, let's take a look at that. This is web docs, so great for taking a look at JavaScript and all its many functions and many flaws. But let's take a look at what it does. If we run this, eval is running 2 plus 2 from this string. So it takes a string input and runs the code. So I could run like a function in here, and it's going to run it from the string. Now, eval is not necessarily a insecure practice, but it does open the door up to a lot of backdoors. Funny that. It's problematic. The reason it's problematic is because it takes a string and allows you to run anything from any party, if not correctly used. And we are currently seeing an incorrect representation of how it should be used. We are making a request, a HTTP request, to this URL, this hash URL. I'm presuming this is a unhash function. Takes a string, outputs a string, sounds like an unhash function. We import node fetch, and then we make a request. Once we get the response, we turn it into text and we add it here. Now, I carefully, because I wasn't sure what the return was, apart from knowing it was text, took a look at the response. Sus response from auth. Let's take a look. It's some obfuscated code. This is clearly not a good sign. This is clearly a Trojan. This does not look good. Not at all. I'm glad I didn't run this. I'm glad the music was playing and I was vibing hard and I was thinking about what I was doing. So, I followed the cookies a little bit further. I was like, alright, let's see what's going on here. I'm not sure, maybe this is just some really bad developer that doesn't know what he's doing at all. And he's just stupid. He doesn't know what he's doing. Let's see what T3 ChatGPT 4.1 thinks. Using T3, I'm going to prompt 4.1 to see what it thinks of this code. Now, it goes through and says, well, it's obfuscated, as we can all see. It imports OS and FS, which I didn't see that, and also child process, which, well, I don't know if you know anything about those things, but they're accessing your hardware. This is running on the back end. Clearly some sketchy stuff going on if you ran this. Now, basically TLDR, is it a Trojan? It was like, yeah, it's basically a Trojan, dude. This is pretty much malicious software if I've ever seen it. So I was like, well, thank you, AI. ChatGPT, thank you. Thank goodness that you were here to save me, because I wasn't sure. And this is a very good use of modern tooling, AI. Get your tools right. Use them properly. This is a great use for AI. If you're going to be given code, you need to be thinking about it, and AI is there to back you up. If you're like, dude, this is a massive code base, and I'm scared that there's gonna be stuff in it, bro, get on Claude, get on Cursor, prompt it, be like, yo, is there anything in here that's malicious? And like look through the code, start looking through the code as it's looking through the code, and use the tooling that is available to you to prevent yourself from in these situations. Now, I was lucky enough to prevent that, and I'm going to continue to go forward and use these techniques, but this is something that's really important. Think about what is being given to you. Don't take it at face value. It could very well be a hack. These guys are after you. These hacker boys are after you and your data. They're coming for you. Don't let them get your data. Be very careful. Now, if we read a little bit more into this, it's basically telling me that yes, this is Trojan. It's designed to gather information on an affected system and communicate with remote servers, download executable code, etc., etc. Don't run this. I'm not going to add this repository in the description. If you're inclined to go look at the repository, feel free to, but do not, by all means, run it. Alright, let's go into the repository. This looks at face value very, very, very convincing. Like, if you're looking at it and you're a new developer and you're like, okay, I'm going to look at this. This is gauged towards new developers. This is gauged towards people that don't know what they're doing just yet. They haven't quite got the grasp on could be malicious. It's on GitHub. It seems like it makes sense. Now, the biggest thing that put me off here was these two contributors. Like, these people have been on GitHub and around the block. This guy's been on this since 2008, and he's worked at Berkeley. He's working at these cool companies. What is this guy doing on the contributor list for clearly a Trojan horse? I did not, and I was not willing to believe that this guy was contributing to this. So let's break down to the basics and take a look at the commits. If we take a look at the commits here, we can see that these commits, these starter commits here, are all created by deleted GitHub accounts. Now, these deleted GitHub accounts clearly are doing something malicious. Vlad, that guy's a Russian hacker. I don't know if you've ever met a Russian hacker before, but that's pretty much that's a Russian hacker for sure. We got this account here called Coin, and then we have Silverwind. Well, this guy was one of the cool guys. This guy seemed like he actually contributed to the repository. Let's take a look at this 11.0.1 version, and let's browse the code at this point. And what do you know? It's a completely different project, completely different repo. If we look at this, it's a completely different README. Clearly, something's gone wrong. Now, straight away we can see this GitHub project has been hacked. This account has been hacked. Now, I don't think Silverwind has been hacked because they're still contributing quite a bit to these other projects that they're connected to. So I don't think that Silverwind has been hacked. I do think that the repo itself has been hacked. I'm not sure how that can happen or how it works, but it's clearly happened here. And these people are using these two contributors to promote malware, which is very unfortunate. And you guys need to be very careful. Just seeing contributors does not mean that it's a valid repository. Now, obviously, these two things up here are basic giveaways. There's 1 star, 0 forks, 0 watches. Now, I don't never put that down to bad software, but it's definitely an indicator that, hey, these people clearly aren't getting that same sort of recognition, and this is clearly not a massive project. So be very mindful of those up there, especially if you're new. This video is gauged towards experienced developers and new developers, people that could be running into these issues. I'm reasonably experienced, and even I was very close to making a mistake of running this program and going, everything's fine, I'd love a job opportunity right now, the market's not the best, I'll take it. Don't fall into that trap. Alright, so let's also go into another part of this. We can see here, view all commits from all users. If we take a look at, we'll go look at the README, we can see something very strange. If actually, before I go to the README, we can see something very strange. We have February 15th, February 12th, and if we go next, we can see February 15th again. So it's like this has been inserted into the GitHub records, which is very strange. I've never seen this before. It's very strange. So February 12th, this is just here. It's not correctly dated. I thought it was a filter. There's no filter for that all time. Like, there's no sorting filter. So clearly that's not the case. So something very strange is going on here. As I said, we click this and the Git history, English, Git history is very strange here. Now let's take a look at the README where we can see this in more detail. Let's go to history. We can see here that if we scroll down to badges, have a look at badges, we can see, okay, he's changed the badges. That makes sense. This is the current state of the README. Now we would expect the next update to change those lines, but guess what? Those lines have already been changed and already existed. Very strange. This is the beginning of this year. This is a very strange problem. I haven't seen this before. The Git history is broken. Now, I'm not sure if this is due to a rebase and the history has been reverted, or what. I'm not super versed on how Git functions in that sense. But something has happened here where the history of this changing has been removed and does not exist anymore. We can clearly see that that is between two commits, badges, the 9th of March to the 23rd of February, no changes were made, and boom, there's a new change. So something has gone wrong in the history. If you guys know what that possibly could be, I think it's like a rebase, where you rebase the commits and create a new basis for the commits, and then all the commits now branch off that base, and this is a rebase. I'm not entirely sure. In the comments, if you guys would like to explain that, that'd be lit, because I do not understand how that's possible, but that has definitely happened here. So something has gone wrong, and since then, these readmes have been. So since February 24th, this repository has been under new management, under a scammer management. So, yeah. Now, I think this has actually gone under several different names. So I think this repository, let's watch it, but I think this repository is actually going to continue to change and evolve. It's not going to stay the same. This is a hunch. So if we can report this repository, that'd be great. I'm going to go and report this repository and see if we can get this taken down and or explored. Now, if we take a look at the account here, Astrobyte Sync Company. They were established in 2019, which I don't know if you saw, but those commits are as old as 2015, so clearly this repository is not owned by these people. I haven't clicked any of these links, and I don't intend to. For all I know, these are scam links. Maybe I'll open a VM or something and explore, but this is very sus. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but updated 17 hours ago is a very also strange. Like if I click this, you can see that there's no commits here for 6 months, and well, there's no branches either. If I view all branches and I go all, there's no existing branches. 17 hours ago. But I don't know who this is. This guy. 17 hours ago. And I don't know where he made those changes. So there's something weird going on with this Git repository, and I'm not sure what it is. But they've broken something. No pull requests exist. Actions. No actions. Projects. Nothing on projects. Security. That makes sense. There's nothing in security. So, this is something that's happened to me today, and I would encourage everyone, don't run code given to you. Think a little before running it, and utilize these modern tools that we have available to us. AI is a great modern tool to help you break down these problems. I didn't have to waste my entire afternoon breaking down the entire code base that I'm going to end up finding a scam in, or risk myself not seeing it and have a companion to go alongside me and help me find these issues. I think it's a great usage of AI, and I hope that everyone who watches this video can take away using AI is a great way to break down code given to you and find these backdoors that may be being put on your computer as you're contributing to these open source projects. Now, thank you everyone for watching. I really hope that you guys, if you're being scammed like this, feel free to reach out, contact me in the comments. I would love to hear stories and issues that are happening and see if we can take these guys down. But have a good one.